We like to see your lovely faces. And then also use the chat for questions. It's a great way to ask those preliminary questions as they arise during the presentation. And then be mindful of others, be kind. This is a safe space. Also, please update your Zoom to show both your first name, your last name, and then your agency. So we'll go ahead and get started with introductions of our hub team. I'll start. Again, my name is Dominic Baca. I'm a destination sales representative here at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce Convention and Tourism Department. And I'm also part of the hub team at the Business Echo program. Laura?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Chavez, and I'm a project manager here at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, everyone. Greg Mullen here, subject matter expert on this Project ECHO and president and CEO of ABQ IT.
Thank you, Greg. Corey?
Corey Frazier, president and CEO of Conifer Incorporated.
Thank you, Corey. And since there's just a couple of us here, Ruben, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Ruben Garcia with JB Media Group and also on the board for the Hispano Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you for joining us. Edgar, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Edgar. I'm the data operations analyst at New Space Nexus.
Thank you for being here, Edgar. Okay, so yeah, essentially we'll go ahead and get started with the didactic presentation. I did want to pull up a quick poll before I pass it on to Corey, though. And really, this is just to gauge what we want to see in future sessions. With one question being what business topics interest you for future sessions, and then from that above selection, what specifically interests you about that topic. This helps us and is going to help us shape future session topics as we develop our curriculum for the Business Echo program. If you could please complete that. Awesome. Thank you for completing that. So now I'd like to pass it along to Mr. Corey Frazier. Today he's going to be talking about executive leverage with Claude Cowork. Take it away, Corey.
Thanks, sir. Let me find the magic Zoom buttons here. Okay. So I am Corey Frazier. I'm the president and CEO of Conifer Incorporated, and my current moniker is the AI Mad Genius, which was given to me by one of my clients because every time he had a problem, I'd say, hey, I'm just going to solve it this way. And so I've just kind of taken that, stuck with it, and have jumped in both feet. So what I wanted to talk about is time management. Although it sounds a little bit odd to be talking about leverage with Cowork and time management, but that's the problem that we run into as business owners, as executives, as anybody who feels like they're doing multiple things and just overwhelmed with not getting things done. As a business owner, I feel that way every day, every minute of the day, and sometimes even feel guilty when I'm not working because there's just so much that has to be done. Once I started leveraging Cowork to help with some of the things, I actually felt the weight lift. It helps keep me accountable to myself and accountable to the business. So I thought it was important to talk about how that works and actually how I'm actually using it, and then to hear about some of the problems that other people may be experiencing and how they could potentially use this as a solution for them. So there are lots of things that I use Claude Cowork for. I was sitting at a marketing meeting with a group of other business owners and was talking about this exact same topic and said, I think I've got like 6 of these Cowork agents running. And I wanted to make sure that I gave them all of the names of what they were doing. And I pulled it up and I actually have over 20. And it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. It's like, oh, well, wait a minute. There's actually more going on here and more things being taken off my plate than I remembered even writing. There we go. Wrong screen. All right. So the real bottleneck in us having all of these tasks that we have to do is not that we have all these tasks that we have to do. It's that there's a whole lot of tasks that we do repeatedly that jump in the middle of all of the important tasks. I've got to send an email follow-up. Something happens within the business. Somebody clicks on something, somebody registers for something. There's an email that comes in. There's a news story that comes out. There's a variety of things, and they are all vying for our time. And the problem that we have as executive and business owners is more and more things are vying for our time. And every time that we lose focus on one thing to focus on something else, we lose momentum. We lose the ability to focus on the things that move the needles that we should be focusing on. So all of this little work adds up. Every time you stop to work from one thing to another, that adds up. So I'm sure most people by now have heard of this fad that's not going to last called AI. And there's it is very powerful, but as it was explained to me, it is a 5-year-old with an IQ of 160, which means it is very smart, but it has no experience and it definitely cannot read your mind. It has no experience in your business, in your day-to-day lives, and generally it just doesn't know what you want. They're trying to make them better, but they still kind of lose their way. So we have to make sure that when we're using AI that we provide all of the context that we can. How we store conversations, how it learns, what our preferences are, how we interact with it, and how we interact with the information that it creates makes the difference on how it actually becomes helpful in our business. A couple examples of what I am talking about is if you are looking at the slide, you'll see that it's talking about emails, Google Drive, and Notion, and other variety of tools. When we get into me actually talking about how I use Claude Cowork, it is connected to my Google Drive, it is connected to my email, it is connected to Notion, and it is connected into a variety of other tools that do the work that Claude tells it to do. So once I started getting into Claude Cowork and decided, hey, it's really, really important for me to think about this before I do it, because what I didn't want is I didn't want a tool. I wanted somebody or something, calling it someone. I wanted something that acted like an employee. I wanted it to know what its roles, responsibilities, accountabilities, and authorities were, just as if it was a job description. So every time that I thought about, well, what is a task that I would give my assistant to do? And I started there. So, hey, assistant, I want you to read my emails first thing in the morning and check the emails from yesterday and see what are priorities first thing in the morning that I need to look at. And then I want you to do it after lunch, which is, there are a lot of executive secretaries. That's exactly what they do. They're monitoring the executives' emails so that they can tell them what's important and what's not. Well, I wanted one of those too. So using Claude Cowork, that's exactly what I did. I created one of those. Claude becomes my communication to my executive assistant. The executive assistant, Cowork, connects to everything else. It connects to my Notion. It connects to a content creation and management tool for social media. It connects to my LinkedIn to manage and engage and help modify my social media algorithm and feed in LinkedIn. It does that work, but under my instructions. So the first thing that I wanted to do, which I had mentioned earlier, is I want to know what's going on in my inbox. Because that was the first thing that I was already doing that I was going to get my fastest win. Taking away the requirement for me to have to sit there and monitor my email box all day, every day, and every time something came up, I felt the need to have to go through and look at it. Is it important? Is it important? Is it important? Looking at it every time it went off. Almost Pavlovian of phone dings, check out the phone, look at the emails. Now I know that I don't have to do that because twice a day I'm told what's important and what's not.
Excuse me, Corey?
Yes.
We have a question in the chat box. Ruben is asking, he says, I haven't used Claude Cowork. Does ChatGPT have something similar or should I get a Claude account?
ChatGPT does not have this.
Okay.
I have been a staunch OpenAI supporter for the last year. I have apps that are written on OpenAI API calls. It's where I first started digging into it, and I just, for the longest time, said I'm not going to change. I thought they were all the same. I'll admit it. But then I started practicing and playing with the other ones and come to find out that the difference is not the LLM on the back end. The difference is the tools and the way that they use the LLM. And Claude, and I have the desktop app, which I will show when we get to the end, is more in line with what I need. I don't need to just ask a simple question and have a dialogue and a conversation and do research. I'm a business person. I need something that's going to do tasks. And once I really started digging into how I can use Claude Cowork and then add on some other tools that I have, it became almost immediately apparent that between using Claude Cowork and one of the tools that I mentioned the last time that I was here, N8N, it's almost limitless in the things that I can have Claude do for me. And so the front end and the way that they use the LLMs matters. And so thank you for that question, because that is one that I thought myself for the longest time was, oh, they're all training on the same data. But even if they train off the same data, everybody ends up being different and everybody seems to be focusing on a different niche. And I currently am really enjoying the things that Claude Cowork is doing for me and my business, which I will talk more about what it's actually doing and how it's actually working. Okay. So first thing I did again, was the things I was already doing. I was reading my emails every day, and I gave that to Claude. Organize these, help me figure these out. Then I said, well, what's the thing that I should be doing that I'm not doing? And that's my social media management. And I know that I have to do it. I know I should be doing it. I hate doing it. So I sat down with Claude and a couple other tools and said, I need to be able to do this sort of work. So I use a tool in connection with Claude Cowork called Blotato. It's one of the most interesting software app names I've heard of. How she came up with it, I don't know. But Blotato talks directly to Claude. So I can ask Claude a question and it will go and talk to Blotato about it. Hey, what is my content schedule? What's scheduled to post for today? Claude goes and talks to Blotato, comes back and tells me what's going on. I've got other skills in Claude that manages what I call my content creation engine. And it writes a brief on a topic that I give it. It converts that into individual posts for individual platforms. It then takes that post for those platforms, feeds it to Blotato, and then tells Blotato to create images, or I create the images on my side and submit it, and Blotato manages either creating the images or managing the schedule. It does all of that. And I do it all through conversations. Where do I come up with my content? I have another Claude Cowork skill that every morning reads the news in the AI space, and I find one that I think is interesting to the people who follow me, and I tell it to write a post on that topic. I review what it writes. It handles the work. It writes it in my voice. It writes it in my style. I review everything before it's finally submitted to the platforms. Another thing that I have Claude do or Cowork do for my LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for probably close to 20 years. And my connections across LinkedIn cover a variety of different jobs and things that I've done. Problem is, most of those people who show up in my feed don't necessarily want to hear what I'm talking about. So my LinkedIn algorithm is wrong. So I use Claude Cowork to do the work of reconfiguring the LinkedIn algorithm by engaging with the topics that I need to be engaging with the profiles, the content, so that it starts to reshape LinkedIn's algorithm for who sees my content, extend my reach, and get me in front of more people. And it is absolutely doing that.
Corey,
Yes.
we do have another question from Ruben, and his question states that he did not attend your other presentation, but if you could give a brief overview of your business itself.
So I am an AI consultant, and I help small and medium-sized businesses do exactly this type of work, where we take processes and find ways to optimize and automate when possible, so that people can focus on the things that they need to be really doing that make a difference and move the needle in the business, right? Reviewing emails every 5 minutes does not move the needle on the business, right? Having to go through and just reshape an algorithm on a social media platform so my content gets in front of the right people isn't a good use of my time, right? It goes kind of back to the E-Myth, and if you look at it, it's like, well, how much would I pay somebody else to do this? And would I pay that person the same amount of money that I should be paying as the executive in this role? If those two numbers don't match, I should be delegating it. So we look for opportunities to create delegation, but now I look for ways to help turn that delegation into an automated tool within guardrails, within scope, within everything else. But that's how I help businesses today. I used to be, and still am for the most part, a business and sales coach. So I take my business and sales coaching experience and turn it into actually helping organizations solve those sorts of problems. Does that help? Yes. Okay. Perfect. So, how and why did I devote time to work on figuring this out and creating these co-work employees? For the simple fact of speed. The time it would take for me to take a topic, for me to go research a topic from AI News from a variety of different sources, for me to pick what my take on it is, for me to take that and turn it into a post on 3 different social media platforms, because they each have a different audience and they each have different text requirements, length requirements, for me to create those posts, then for me to create the visuals for those posts, and then schedule them. One post would take me a long time. With the help of Claude doing the what I would call the manual labor side of it, not the thinking side of it, but the manual labor side of it, I can have posts done in a matter of minutes. And it's usually the first thing I do in the morning is I read the news. I pick if there's something that I think is relevant. I tell the content engine to take that topic and write it. It writes it based on my sets of rules, my writing format, my my social media structure, my scaffolding for it. And I even have it randomly pick a mood, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I have it randomly choose what kind of mood I'm in for that post. Am I happy? Am I frustrated? Am I disjointed? And so the posts come out under different styles. It creates all of that. I review them if I like it, if I think it's wrong, which it does do. It gets them wrong. If it gets it wrong, I tell it it's wrong and why, and it reruns it and it comes back. And if after about 2 runs, if it can't get it the way that I want it, I just don't do it. I don't have time to sit there and keep looping and looping and looping doing it. That probably takes me about 4 or 5 minutes in the morning. So the first thing I'm doing is now I'm educating myself on what's going on. I'm taking that information. I'm helping educate others, putting my view on it and putting it out on social media. I don't have a social media department. It's just me and Claude. We're the only ones doing it. The other thing that does is I'm actually killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm learning where the market is shifting and changing and who's partnering with who and kind of what the trends are going towards, while expressing my view and helping educate others on the same space. So one of the things that I like about Claude and Claude Cowork in this space is it is actually simple and it is very repeatable. After I make something work for me, after I've got it working and I'm like, hey, I've got this skill that this agent that goes through and reads my emails twice a day. And when I talk to somebody else about it, they're like, I need that, I need that, I need that. It's like, okay, well, I take my skill and with Claude and I strip it down and I make it something that I can give to somebody else. I created a skill that creates short form videos up to about 5 minutes that I use to create training videos. It uses freely available images and freely available videos and then creates animations, creates movies up to about 5 minutes. And Claude does it. I just give it like this is what we're talking about. This is what we're teaching today. And it creates it. And it only costs me AI tokens. There's no AI image generation costs. There's no large, long, complicated video generation costs. It's just a couple of skills that are all wrapped into one. And I was talking to a church out of Texas who says, "Oh my gosh, we need to be able to do something like that." And I'm like, "I've got you." I packaged up the skill, pulled all of my relevant information out of it, and sent it to them. They now have that entire skill that they can take, install in Claude, and run with it after answering just a couple of questions that they needed to answer to set it up. So I gave them that so it becomes something that I can share and something that I can then help other people with. Now, when we're talking about simple and repeatable, the other part of what Claude Cowork has is it has a schedule. So I have my daily news running every morning, and it's in my inbox by the time I sit down on my computer. It runs at 7 a.m., and when I sit down, it's there. It's ready for me to read. It takes me a minute or two. If it's really interesting, maybe longer, because I'll sit and I'll have a conversation with the agent who went and extracted that news because it has all of that information already. So I'll ask it questions and go research more. And what about this? And what about this? And it has all of my beliefs, all of my methodologies and everything already loaded. So I'll ask conversations. How does this affect my business? How can I use this? What is it that I need to know about this? And have conversations with the models back and forth.
Corey, we have a question in the chat box.
What you
Ruben
got?
is asking, how do tokens work? Is the service a one-time cost?
What was that? What was that last part of that question?
Is the service a one-time cost for tokens?
Okay.
Can I ask that
Go ahead, Bruce.
actually? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what tokens are exactly. I've heard this term a lot, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. And then
Okay.
once you build the AI agent, is it like a one-time cost, or is that part of your cloud cost every month? How does that work?
Okay. So in the Claude Cowork instance, and every company uses tokens differently. Some will call them credits, some will call them tokens. And what they are is it's just you're renting their servers on the other end. And they had to come up with a way to bill you for those. At the end, from 30,000 feet, that's the way to think of it. And so when you pay these AI companies to use their platforms, they say you've got this many tokens or this many credits. In the AI space, an actual token is about 4 characters. So every 4 characters in anything that you send is one token. So if we were to look at like OpenAI, it says that you've got a 1 million token context window. Well, that's 1 million tokens, which is 4 million characters. Where if you look at Claude, they'll say, oh, well, we give you 1,000 tokens. I mean, 1,000 credits. And then what they end up doing is the credit usage varies based on what you're doing and how you're using it. And so all of these skills and everything that I have running under Claude, I am on the max plan, which costs me about $100 a month. I haven't hit limits yet, but that's also
And
my
Ruben, just to
design.
add some details in there, the plan starts as low as $20 a month with Claude, and it's really easy to check your usage. There's just a little thing you click on and it shows you your usage. And you can also pay for like overage if you only think you're going to go over a little. And then it starts at 20 and then goes all the way up. I think the highest plan right now is like $200 a month. And then you could pay for additional usage over that too. So it just kind of depends, like Corey's saying, on usage, but you could start small.
Absolutely. And one of the weird things that I didn't realize, but halfway through the month, for whatever reason, Anthropic just gave me $100 overage credit. They're like, here you go. Just if you ever go over,
Right.
we'll cover the cost. It's like, all right, great,
One of
thanks.
the things they're doing too, they're really trying to direct users to use it more off business hours. And so they'll give you like 50% off token usage if you're using it overnight. And so there are some tasks, like when I set mine, it's like it's going to take 9 hours to do this task. And so I'll just set it before I leave for the day and let it crank all night. And you get half the token spend that you would during the day.
So tokens and credits are something to be aware of. It's the billing thing that they use. And so just being aware, not necessarily having to know how they work on the back end, but knowing that it's something to be cognizant of. So in Greg's example, it's like if I've got something that I don't have to have right now, like my AI news report, it runs outside of business hours and it's sitting there waiting for me. And so having those things run at different times when it's actually valuable can make a big difference. If you had an employee who did work at night, and the only reason they did it at night because it was easier to do, then that's the same thing here. I think I messed that statement up. And so all of my Claude Cowork still requires me if it's going to send anything. It doesn't need my permission to go and read the news, but it needs my permission if I want it to create something. If I want it to draft an email, it needs my permission. And it only has permission to create drafts. It can't create an actual email and send it. Anything that it creates I have time buffers and the requirement for me to review before it's done. So the thing to think about is as you're going through your day, ask yourself, is there something that I can delegate? Is what I'm doing taking me away from the things that are truly important to what I should be doing, which everybody will say email is usually the first thing. And then how else can I leverage this? 3 days a week, I have another employee, Claude Cowork, that goes through and looks at the emails that I've sent and looks to see if any of them have responses. And following a schedule, a set of rules that I've created, it will tell me, hey, you've sent this email out. It looks like we're expecting a response. We haven't gotten one. It's been this amount of time. It's time to nudge. And it'll even create the draft email for me. All I have to do is say, okay, yep, that's good. And then I go and I send it. Because follow-up is a lot of places where businesses fail in sales. And so we get busy doing things. We forget that we even had something to follow up on. And it just falls through the cracks. Mine has actually caught deals for me, which is what it's supposed to do. It's like, oh, hey, you were supposed to send this email out. It's like, oh, I forgot, just completely forgot. And it reminded me. And so having it do those sorts of things make a huge difference in how you can operate your business. So now I'm actually going to show Cowork at work. I will stop sharing this one and I will share my actual Claude. Where are you at? All right. So from here, you can actually see what it's already done.
Can you zoom at all, Corey?
Yeah. Is that better?
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So you'll see 3 hours ago it did something. 4 hours ago it did my morning email triage. 14 hours ago it organized all of my coaching calls. 18 hours ago it did my LinkedIn engagement. So what I'm just going to have it do is like, I'm going to tell it to run my algorithm shaper. This is the tool that I had mentioned about getting LinkedIn to go through and actually put my content in front of the people that I want to see it. Because I just engaging with my feed by itself won't get it in front of the people that I want to see it. And so on the right-hand side, you'll see what it's actually engaging with. It's using Claude Chrome extension, which means it's actually loading LinkedIn in a browser window. It's using my voice, so anytime it has to engage with a post, leave a comment or anything, it's doing it with my rule set, and it is running it in the it's running the skill to do it. And so all of these things, it's looking at, I think there's 10 different LinkedIn profiles that we're checking against. It's reading their posts, their most recent posts. It's figuring out, is this a good thing to post on, or should I just engage with it? If it is, what should I say? And it's doing all of that for me. So you look at the progress, these are the things that it's going to do. It's going to engage with mid-tier targets. I have 2 New Mexico community targets and then 6 big name targets, and then give me the summary. See, so it's already saying it's it's reading the post, summarizing it, and telling me that it's actually reading that post that's going on. So I will let that run, and I will come back when that's done and show you where that's at. In the meantime, who has thought of the one skill that would free up so much of your time that feels like it's a time sink? That this feels like this could be a huge help.
I can tell you one area.
That was me. I can tell you one area where I'm using it right now that is working really well, that eliminated a time sink for me, which is we use a project management software, and it's called Linear, and it's how we keep track of all our projects. So you can collaborate with team members on projects, assign tasks, all that kind of stuff. And I was able to connect Linear to Claude Cowork through the connector. And then now, I can ask Claude Cowork, what are my Linear tasks? And if it's, well, you have to draft like these emails, and then it'll help me draft the emails, and it'll update Linear for me. It can add tasks for my colleagues, and it's just like really helpful tool for managing projects. I really don't feel like I even need to get into the Linear app much anymore, because I can just work with my assistant essentially to manage that whole part of the business and keep us on track with projects.
Could I ask, Greg, is Linear like a CRM system in
Sort of. It's just like a project management software.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the capability? Are you aware of any capability, or perhaps you, Corey, of connecting Cloud Cowork with any CRMs that are existent?
Oh, there's tons of connection. Yeah.
Okay.
So most all common CRMs out there have connector tools and stuff
Awesome.
that you can just connect right in.
Yeah, they see AI as a fad too. So they have spent a ton of money to make sure that AI can connect to them, because they know that their competitors are doing it. And so they're embedding AI into the platforms. They're creating the ability for external AIs to connect to them, because they realize that, you know, salespeople don't like entering data.
What CRM specifically would you like to know about?
Simple View. It's events industry CRM for destination marketing organizations.
Okay.
It's what we utilize in convention and tourism. Mhm. But it would be helpful for some of those tasks in terms of traces. We have to go in and see exactly what we have to respond to. This would be helpful to create kind of a summary of that, so that we can kind of create a more steady workflow without having to go in there manually to check each and every task that we have to get done. So
Got it. Yeah, I don't see a connector for it yet, actually.
okay.
Does it have
Custom
API calls or anything?
Yeah, there are different API calls that can be processed through Simple View, and we have discussed some of those previously in terms of connecting different APIs to additional CRM tools that we utilize within the business. But
So in instances like that, where it doesn't have a Claude connector, you go back to N8N, and I create a simple MCP connection that connects to the platform, and then I connect Claude to N8N, and then it has access to everything that I need it to do. And it's actually simpler than I had imagined it was going to be to do that in that instance.
Okay.
As an example, the connector for Microsoft email in Claude is read only.
okay,
And so you can't send emails or create drafts or create calendar events using the connector. And so I had to create a workflow in N8N and connect Claude to it. That's how Claude can now create drafts, put things on my calendar that it couldn't do before. And so
okay,
in that instance, you have an N8N MCP connection, define all the things you want it to be able to do with the CRM, and then just connect Claude to that. It's really simple. And then it says, oh, look, these are all the things that you want me to be able to do. Okay, I got it. What do you want to do?
perfect.
Ruben, to answer your question, uh, yes, you can think of a Claude connector as Zapier type. Zapier is another tool like N8N that you keep hearing me talk about. And so you can actually do the same thing with Zapier. Zapier acts as a connector between two different platforms, and the connector is the same thing. It enables Claude to connect to something. It's a connector that somebody has already created for that tool.
Can a connector talk to two different CRMs?
Yes.
Mhm.
It would be a different
Yeah.
connect. It would be a different connector for each CRM. But if you're, let's say, if you're trying to talk to two different CRMs at the same time, you would have two different connectors, one for each one. And if you wanted to take information from one and put it to the other, as long as Claude can talk to both of them, it can handle those tasks for you.
Great.
That's wonderful.
There's also connectors for stuff like Canva. If you use Canva to make stuff, so it can read your Canva files and grab Canva stuff.
Right.
Like just a lot of them, and they're making more and more. But
And Eddie, would you
Adobe,
say N8? I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off, Corey.
that's all right.
Go ahead.
Adobe just this week, I think, has released connectors for Claude Cowork. So now you can get Claude to do work in Illustrator, and you can get Claude to do work in platforms like that. I've got a colleague who has actually done that. He's had an image created, needed something changed, connected it through Claude, and then Claude sent it to Illustrator, and Illustrator did the work and sent it back. That's on my list of things to play with and see, because that could be another huge step forward potentially.
Certainly. Yeah, and I was also going to ask, would you say that N8N is kind of more expensive in terms of what you're able to connect it to get kind of the connector between N8N and Claude? Is there a wider variation of what you're able to do with N8N?
Uh, N8N is the cheapest of them,
Okay.
and it it has gained enough momentum in the marketplace. It shows up in my news feed as the standard probably at least 3 times a week.
there's actually a connector for N8N
Okay.
in this as well, so you
Okay.
could use Claude to help manage your workflows and that kind of thing in N8N. But N8N is also, you have to bring your own AI to it.
Right.
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 Yeah.
All right. So who
Yeah,
wants to see what the algorithm shaper did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could.
All right. All right. So it just finished. All right. So there's the run. So it found these voices. It reacted. So a reaction is to hit either the heart, the clap, the hands. They're just a reaction. There's no comments. So anytime it says it reacted, it's just doing one of the reactions. No posts, reacted. No posts, no posts, reacted, 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 reacted. So 9 of 13 targets, refreshed signals. And then flags, it's telling me that it had something that was a little bit different, which I got to go and look and see why it's going on. 3 accounts are heavily already engaged, and target list 13 or 14. So it ran that, and then it comes up and tells me what I need to worry about and what I need to think about. And so when you think about from a business owner perspective, it's like, I know I need to do more social media posting, but from a sales and marketing perspective, how do I social media post to the people who I want to see what I'm posting? So you can either just use it blindly, or you can use it as a strategist to help you figure out, how do I best leverage this as a tool, not just use it as something like I'm doom scrolling LinkedIn or Facebook because I'm sitting here bored. No, it is a tool and they want it to be used as a tool. And so do strategy sessions with it on how do I turn it into a tool and actually use it that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corey. Yeah, I think this is all such valuable insight, and as things are making way and headwinds, and really on a day-to-day basis, things are changing and coming out, and I know that uh, it's just becoming more expensive, and so any of this insight is super valuable as business owners consider what is to come in terms of their technological landscape and what tools they're utilizing in their business. So thank you again, Corey, for today's presentation and sharing your expertise and insights. And also the live demonstration. I think it's so valuable. That's really what we're here for, is this dialogue that we're having and the shared insights that we can all share with each other. And so I before we wrap up, I do want to do one more quick poll for this session, and this is just um, about the session, asking what's the overall rating for this session, how likely you all are to recommend the session to a colleague, and then has this session increased, improved, or positively impacted, whether that's your knowledge, your skills, your performance, your business outcomes, or if there was no change. Um, and I'll give you a few moments to fill that out. Did you have something to say, Greg?
I was just going to say next week's topic.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. So essentially, once you fill out this poll, please do keep in mind that our sessions again are held on the first and the third Tuesday of each month. So please mark your calendars for quick access to join. Laura will place momentarily the link to our IO Echo homepage in the chat, and so that you can place that on your calendars. But again, you will receive your standard message reminder 30 minutes before the start time to join the next session, which will be with Mr. Greg Mullen with ABQIT. And that topic is going to be building your AI factories. And so we look forward to that session. I think Greg has some wonderful things to share in terms of AI.
Yeah, and a quick note on that, it plays really well into today's conversation because part of that AI factory can definitely be Claude Cowork within the workplace. And really, I'll be going over sort of how to audit your own workflow as an individual employee and, figure out what parts of your work could and be most benefit from automation through using AI. So we'll be talking about how to spot those workflows within your own work environment and figure out, what you can start doing, what that low-hanging fruit looks like for you as an individual.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg. And thank you everybody for being here today. We do look forward to seeing you in our next session. Again, if there's any questions, please do message us at hispanochamberecho@gmail.com. If you have any questions, concerns, future topics, or if you'd like us to discuss a current case scenario that you're experiencing in your business, we would love to discuss that as well. And I'll let Laura wrap up with a few words.
Oh, yeah, I just quickly wanted to mention that if you wanted to catch any of our past sessions, including today's, you can find them on our YouTube channel at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce YouTube page.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful Tuesday.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good day.
Oh, I just logged out.
Thanks. That was really helpful. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you, Ruben.
I appreciate the questions.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that through all of this was like, I need to use this for this?
I've been looking into some of this before. I bought this program and haven't yet implemented. I was just changed my company's. We're rebranding. We used to be Johnny Boards, and now we're JB Media Group. So we just uploaded our new website, and so with that, I got a program called Marvelism, and it has all these little agents that are kind of pre-built, and then they train us on how to use them. So it's similar to what you're doing. I don't know if it's, but I don't have to build it. I just kind of sort of have to like pick the agents I want to use, and then it kind of goes from there. So, um, but one of the things that I was thinking of is because I do a lot of public service work, I'm trying to figure out how to use an agent. So one of them has like a voice call where, calls out, and it calls every Monday. Allison calls me, "Hey, what are you doing today? Are you going to sign up for this account? Are you going to start using our other AI agents?" So that's really compelling. And I know some people have bought some agents to make calls and like, oh, it doesn't work. And I'm like, I don't think it's meant to like, for me, I don't know if it's really meant to like get another client the way I see clients. But I'd like to reach like all of the government like departments and say, here's what we're doing with another department like yours, and here's the samples of what you can do. So send a link or video, something like that. And then also our legislators, this is a state where you're one person away from the governor. So if you could remind all your legislatures that, hey, here's what we're doing in public service in your county, that would be kind of a cool way of kind of stretching our brand out there. Is it kind of like a FEMO, right? Where fear you're missing out because other counties are doing some public service messages that are working. So